This is the entire Dinotube Iceberg, and this is Layer 1, which was covered last episode by Rex King. Now, we finally start our descent, going into Layer 2, which will be covered by yours truly, some stupid sketch show guy. At the very beginning of Layer 1, we were introduced to Bioniclesaurus by Rex King. During Bioniclesaurus' section, Rex King mentioned that Bioniclesaurus shouted out a smaller Dinotuber named Camosaurus, and Camosaurus will be the start of Layer 2. Camosaurus originally started out as a spin-off to Bioniclesaurus with his series Dinosaur Island Revival. However, he found his own identity, and just like Bioniclesaurus did to him, he became an inspiration to the Dinotube community. In fact, he was an inspiration to my type of content, and even shouted me out, giving me my very own jumpstart, continuing the cycle. During his peak, he made multiple different Dinotube shows that would revolutionize the community, such as Mesozoic Bedroom, Billy the Dimension Hopper, and the Misfits series. But, thanks to college, he has slowed down significantly in content, and isn't the same pioneering Dinotuber that he once was. However, he is still a well-remembered and well-respected member of this community for now and forever. But, we have to harken back to the beginning of Camosaurus' tale to talk about our next topic, Dinosaur Island Revival, the show that kickstarted his YouTube channel. When Dinosaur Island Season 3 was made, it was supposed to be the very end of the show, never to be touched again. So, to keep the spirit of Dinosaur Island alive, Camosaurus made his own spin-off show, Dinosaur Island Revival, a show that takes place 50 years after the events of Dinosaur Island Season 3, focusing on both characters from Dinosaur Island Season 3 in their older states, as well as characters that have been born after the events of Season 3. The show was about the same quality as the first 3 seasons of Dinosaur Island, and actually rivaled it in popularity, with some episodes reaching triple-digit views, just like in the old Dinosaur Island days. But if there was a show that did what Dinosaur Island did and equaled it in success, it was Prehistoric Island. Prehistoric Island is what I like to call the European version of Dinosaur Island, as it was made by an English Dinotuber instead of an American one, Matthew the Dinosaur King. It focuses on the same Dinosaur Island type tropes, with dinosaurs living on an island way after the KT mass extinction. It also has similar character types. Instead of Bloodtooth, you have the one and only Malachite. And it worked, with some episodes reaching over 500,000 views apiece. Although, after its infamous 3rd season, Prehistoric Island has remained rather stagnant. But before Dinosaur Island or Prehistoric Island ever existed, there was just Prehistoric by Gloppy605. Although there are 2 versions of the show, the second version is the most popular, with its 2nd episode reaching an incredible 9 million views, which is more than any other Dinotube episode has ever done, more than Dinosaur Island, and more than Prehistoric Island by a long stretch. On to more modern popularity, we go to the Average Train Enjoyer, or King Godred. He has a couple other names as well, and his 30 subscribers would make you think he's a smaller Dinotuber. However, there's a lot more behind this. King Godred used to have an account with over 300 subscribers, but that was terminated. Then he made another one, with the footage you see before you, and it got up to 400 subscribers, and that channel was also terminated. This is channel number 3. Even if you don't see it through his YouTube channels, his influence is very clear with his frequent collaborations with the Dinosaur Discovery, as well as how popular the Dinoverse, a series he himself created, still is. Although, it isn't without his controversies. And now back to some old classics, with another dinosaur story, which is the very beloved sequel to A Dinosaur Story. Instead of it being a Noah's Ark type story this time, it's instead a treasure hunting adventure movie with Noah's Ark returning a lost treasure that he stole, which summoned deadly ghosts that threatened every one of his friends, as well as also dealing with a mammalian uprising led by the one and only Black Rat. And one of Hoops and Dino Man's personal favorite Dinotube shows is Dinosaurs Unleashed, which on the surface looks like another Dinosaur Island type show. However, it's more inspired by actual dinosaur documentaries like Dinosaur Planet, Planet Dinosaur, or Walking with Dinosaurs, with each episode having a documentary runtime of 40 to 50 minutes, as well as it not taking place on a futuristic island where dinosaurs survived the mass extinction. Instead, every single episode takes place in a new actual fossil formation, with each episode focusing on that formation's species of dinosaurs, as well as actual scientific cutaways that teach you about the species of dinosaurs in these formations. But not every Dinotuber is exactly innovative. Some of them are just flat out controversial, like Spinosaurus the King. His first major beef came when he tried denying scientific facts and tried claiming that the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus was actually scientifically accurate. And eventually, Ripoff Reiner tried calling him out for these erroneous claims. His response was to copyright strike his video, and that just only made things worse for him. Afterward, Spinosaurus the King actually admitted a lot of wrongdoing and apologized for it, but he hasn't exactly moved out of controversy just yet, with his new big thing being the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus and his theory that it's a juvenile. Except he treats this theory as fact, which leads to a lot of drama, considering that Camp Cretaceous portrayed their Spinosaurus as an adult, which goes against his theory, and because of that, he made a 40-minute video sending violent threats to the creators. And as well as that, with how easy it is for some people to dislike Spinosaurus the King, Dinotube drama channels have been using him as a cash cow for months and months, never relenting on making a Spinosaurus the King video for easy views. But at their peak, nobody was as popular as the Prehistoric channel, also known as Naturally Ancient. He started out as just a humble figure reviewer, but thanks to a post on r/videos going viral and making it to the top of the page, he got nearly 100,000 subscribers in just a couple of days. Unfortunately, he then lost a significant chunk of it due to the fact that a lot of the subscribers were disingenuous. Despite this, he still uploads every once in a while, and is still chugging on regardless. But now back to Jurassic World for just a moment, we will be talking about Ripper the Indoraptor 01, also known as the Fantastic Fanatic and Dracorex and a couple of other different aliases. He is most popular on Instagram thanks to his Jurassic World-themed hybrid art, as well as some of his controversial beefs with other Dinotubers such as Nefarious and Spinosaurus the King, with some of them getting downright ugly. Although most of this drama has been mended, it isn't without its consequences, with Ripper the Indoraptor multiple times choosing to leave the Jurassic World community and get rid of all of his followers and start from scratch. Although usually he comes back in about a week or so. At the moment, he currently rests at about 200 followers and is steadily regaining his follower base. He also used to have a YouTube channel called Dracorex where he would make Minecraft and Jurassic World themed videos. However, he has since removed all of them and seems to be starting from scratch on there as well. But now onto something completely different. A full-blown website just about reviewing dinosaur figures, and not in just video form either, but also in blog post form, with the DinosaurToyBlog, which shows reviews in blog post form either submitted by the main admins of the DinosaurToyBlog, or submitted via guest review if none of the admins own the figure in question. I've even done a few guest reviews myself in the past. But it doesn't just end there. There's also the Dinosaur Toy Forum, another website, this time entirely dedicated to making forum threads about current dinosaur figures and other similar subjects. But one of the more controversial events on the Dinosaur Toy Forum was the banning of a certain figure company, Rebor. Rebor has always had a unique attitude towards criticism, and it was most definitely shown in the Dinosaur Toy Forum, where they got into quite heated arguments over criticisms over their not scientifically accurate figures, which eventually led to their untimely banning. To this day, Rebor remains a rather brash company with a unique attitude in the dinosaur figure company market. Despite this though, their figures are still met with rave reviews by certain collectors, due to their high quality and incredible detail. And one of the places you can buy Rebor figures is from DanceDinosaurs.com, although it wouldn't exactly be the ideal place for you to buy it. I mean, that's $80 right there. But in its heyday, Dance Dinosaurs was both a successful YouTube channel and website, with people like Bioniclesaurus making videos entirely dedicated to just unboxing figures they bought from Dance Dinosaurs. Even Dan from the frickin' Game Crumbs bought the Safari Limited Stegosaurus from DanceDinosaurs.com. But even with high-tier customers like the Game Crumbs, Dance Dinosaurs has become a sort of B-tier website for dinosaur figures, with Everything Dinosaur, Mini Zoo, and D. Jenkins covering all bases, and with some bad customer stories, Dance Dinosaurs has faded in recent memory. But as we are now out with the old, we now come with the new. And the new is Eofauna, a dinosaur figure company that strives for two simple things: to create high-quality, scientifically accurate dinosaur models, and to use the money made from these models to help fund actual paleontologists. So far, Eofauna seems to be succeeding in both. And then on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we have Nanmu, which instead focuses on portraying dinosaurs from cinema, most commonly Jurassic Park, and turning them into high-quality dinosaur models that usually have articulated jaws. Although these dinosaur companies have completely different goals, but similar interests, the one thing that they have in common is the people who review these figures. Killershrewfan is one of them. He loves B-movies, such as the classic The Killer Shrews, and he loves his dinosaur figures, including the aforementioned Nanmu, which he dedicates an entire month to, Nanmu November. But he hasn't just reviewed Nanmu, he's reviewed Beasts of the Mesozoic, PNSO, Rebor, and a couple of others. And as well as being a dinosaur figure reviewer, he's multi-talented, sometimes showing off his abilities in both Photoshop and paleo art, every once in a while just to spice things up. And another popular dinosaur figure reviewer is Tom Jurassic. However, it isn't directly because of his YouTube channel why he's popular, but because of who he works for, the one and only Jurassic Collectibles. The original host of Jurassic Collectibles, simply named David, had to eventually step down from his own show due to his personal life and having to balance things out. Originally, Corey Baker did quite a few of the reviews for Jurassic Collectibles, but eventually, the new host was settled on Tom Jurassic, who currently does a lot of the figure reviews currently uploaded to the YouTube channel, in similar vein to shows like E=3 or more recently Dead Meat, where the original host is nowhere to be found and a new one is keeping it going. And honestly, it just ain't the same. But while figure reviews have been around since Dinotube itself, Dinotube Podcasts are a newer type of Dinotube genre, and it hasn't really been fully used to its potential, as there have been plenty of Dinotube Podcasts, even those that don't exist anymore that are actually going to be covered in later layers, and also ones that just never found their footing, such as Therapodcast, Cliff Diving Dinos, or Pastcast, which is basically a pilot episode for Indecent Composure, a podcast featuring Kikizilla and Bioniclesaurus. However, that hasn't had an episode in 3 months, and the closest thing we really had to a consistent podcast was the Mesozoic podcast by Rex King, which has 8 episodes. However, even that podcast hasn't had an episode in 7 months and counting. So, when we finally get it, I think it would be great to finally see someone fully commit to the podcast genre and make a consistent Joe Rogan-style series, or even like something like Cult Ones, that'd be cool. And as we continue talking about newer things, we might as well talk about newer Dinotubers as well, such as Spacekid Productions. Spacekid Productions joined Dinotube at the very start of the decade and already has just under 700 subscribers. She has the stuff that you would usually expect from most Dinotubers, such as figure reviews, figure short films, and all that jazz, but she also has different ideas and branches out to other media, such as making different types of fact files, more than I can count, short animations, and even short edits. And like many other Dinotubers, she also has an Instagram account, which perfectly segues into the next part of this video, Dinogram. Dinogram is the biggest subsection of the Dinotube community. It originally came about because of Kappa, because a lot of Dinotubers didn't feel safe making YouTube videos anymore because of this new rule, so they left it and decided to go to Instagram and start anew. While this was heavily criticized by people like me, I could not have been more wrong about Dinogram as a whole. 2 years after Kappa, Dinogram is the biggest and most thriving subsection of this community, with it almost becoming the new staple of Dinotube to also have an Instagram account for you to post your dinosaur photos. And of course, dinosaur figure photos aren't exactly a new thing on there. People like Prehistoric Pat have been doing this way before Dinotube ever got a hold of it. However, with Dinogram, now Dinotubers can join this club, and new Dinotubers have been found here, new group chats, new projects, new collaborations, new everything. It's a new life for Dinotube. But none of this would ever be possible without the very beginning, and Dino Island by Raptor Boy 101 was the beginning. It is considered probably the oldest Dinotube show ever to exist. It all started because some guy named Brennan wanted to recreate walking with dinosaurs, but he wanted to do it with dinosaur toys. And this simple concept would inspire almost everything Dinotube stands for, inspiring all of the most popular and iconic shows in this community, including Dinosaur Island by Bioniclesaurus, just to name one. And, over a decade after its release, people still had new ways to try in this new formula, including Isle of the Mesozoic by Majungasaurus Productions. Isle of the Mesozoic has the same formula of a futuristic island featuring prehistoric dinosaurs, but it has come a long way with a higher quality camera and a ton of other interesting new technological features, such as actual dinosaur puppets, a legitimate intro sequence, as well as small little animations for things like blinking to help add some extra life to these toys. But if there's one type of dinosaur content that predates even YouTube itself, it is the Jurassic Park toy movies. These types of videos have been made ever since the original Jurassic Park was released in 1993, and still, nearly 30 years later, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World toy movies are some of the most viral forms of dinosaur content, with multiple Jurassic World and Jurassic Park toy movies reaching tens of millions of views, some up to 40 million views apiece, and YouTube channels like Toy Adventures have been able to make Jurassic World toy movies their main form of content, and relished, with Toy Adventures' YouTube channel just now celebrating 100,000 subscribers, and other YouTubers like KaijuZilla621 have perfected the art of these toy movies, making movies on the level of quality pushing on cinematic. And on the topic of Dinotube classics, we got the epic dinosaur battle by Hoops and Dino Man. Hoops and Dino Man didn't just make the dinosaur story movies, he also made this video, the epic dinosaur battle, an epic fight between heroes and villains, and it's his most popular video to date with over 2 million views at this very moment, which is more than twice that of any other Hoops and Dino Man video. Even the dinosaur story movies never compared to this. And classics aren't just limited to video form, they're also in figure form, such as with Battat Dinosaurs. Battat Dinosaurs was a line originally conceived in the mid to late 90s for the Boston Museum of Natural History, akin to the Carnegie Natural History Museum line, except in Boston instead of Pennsylvania, and these were considered some of the best and most scientifically up-to-date models at the time. Unfortunately, though, they are all now currently discontinued due to the unfortunate passing of the original sculptor for Battat, Dan LaRusso, and because of that, they are now hailed as incredibly rare and still classics as ever. And now on to an unrelated but paleontological note. Henry the PaleoGuy. Now, Henry the PaleoGuy initially doesn't seem like he would belong in this list, as he doesn't necessarily scream Dinotube, but more PaleoTube. However, he did have humble beginnings in the Dinotube community. Originally a Pokemon YouTuber under the name of Henry Scott, he had nearly 300 subscribers at his peak, although all the videos have since been deleted. His involvement in the Dinotube community started out on the Dinosaur Island wiki under the name GigaBoss102, where he would make regular edits. However, he doesn't really do that anymore, because, well, the Dinosaur Island wiki is dead. But you'll learn more about that later down this iceberg. Nowadays, Henry the PaleoGuy is both a paleontologist and a zoologist YouTube channel, regularly making videos about the newest dinosaurs, and also talking about New Zealand birds every week. And now onto something completely different and a bit more critical. Have you ever wondered what it would be like if someone like the Nostalgia Critic existed in Dinotube, but instead of reviewing regular movies, he shat on terrible dinosaur movies, and maybe he was also German? Well, if you combine all those things, you get Ripraptor 105. Although initially he started out as a primeval YouTuber showing pictures and screenshots of some of the classic species from that show, he eventually evolved his channel into what it is today, which is a film review channel which takes apart some of the worst dinosaur movies ever seen. And this does make him both entertaining but also controversial, as some people do genuinely like these movies and are offended by his criticisms, and all I can say to that is, get a life! And if there was ever a figure review equivalent to Ripraptor, the closest thing we get is Matthew Brando, or as he's now called, Matthew Danczak. I'm sorry, I don't speak Polish. He was very popular back when the Hasbro Jurassic World line released because of his very creative but also informative criticisms of the Hasbro line, because let's be honest, it sucked, it was terrible. So he decided to have a little bit of fun with it, and got millions of views reviewing these figures. Although he has since evolved his content to be more of a film reviewing channel, collaborating with other film critics like Chris Stuckerman of all people, he still every once in a while will come back with a Jurassic World video, just for old time's sake. But nowadays, one of the YouTube channels you would probably head for if you wanted to learn about anything Jurassic World related, especially towards its merchandise, you'd go to Brennan the Paleo Dude. Brennan the Paleo Dude started out as a Dinogrammer all the way back in 2017, and just a side note, yes, I did scroll all the way down through his 1,600 plus posts just so I could get that screenshot. I also did it twice because I lost the first one. I have no life. And then the following year, Mattel started releasing their Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom figures, the very first figures to come out of the Jurassic World Mattel license. And Brennan the Paleo Dude decided to step on it, making his first ever YouTube videos reviewing Mattel's figures. And Nearly 4 years later, he has tried and is actually succeeding at collecting every single Jurassic World Mattel figure there is, and getting thousands upon thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of views just reviewing and grabbing these figures, as well as making paleontology videos, going to college, getting a girlfriend, basically everything a Dinotuber would want to achieve in their lifetime. So, what's your excuse? Jokes aside, not everyone can do what Brennan the Paleo Dude can do, but other members of the Jurassic community can stand out in their own unique ways, such as Jurassic Repaints, who is the second most popular Jurassic Park repainter, behind the one and only Ted brothers. But he does stand out in his own unique way by using his repaints for stop-motion videos. These stop-motion videos usually comprise of him using his repaints to recreate iconic scenes from the Jurassic franchise, the most popular of which is this one, which is a recreation of the T-Rex vs Spinosaurus fight from Jurassic Park 3, standing at nearly 750,000 views. Since then, he's actually remastered this very stop motion, with 3 years improved skills. And one other use for Jurassic repaints is in toy movies, such as in The Master of the Art, Toy Adventures. Toy Adventures is like no other Jurassic World or Jurassic Park toy movie creator, as almost all of his content consists of Jurassic Park and World toy movies, with some figure reviews on the side to spice things up. Despite how long and time-consuming these movies can be, with some of them pushing on feature length, he's been able to pump out a toy movie every other week, as well as making toy movies about Halo, Godzilla, and a couple of other things, and managing to amass just over 100,000 subscribers. But now on to a personal story. This is the Back from the Dead tribute that got me so popular in the first place. When I made this, I just thought it'd be a fun idea because the new episode of Primal came out, and, well, why the heck not? I was getting into tribute making. Not so much anymore, but I was at the time. Initially, it actually didn't do very well. It got 65 views on the first day, which is below average for my videos, and then by the end of the month, it had around 203 views, which is decent, but definitely not where it is today. By the end of the second month, it had over 4,219 views, and then it just continued to rise and rise until it's now, by far, my most popular video. And I do have mixed reactions towards that, because honestly, it's definitely not my favorite video, far from it. So if I wanted a video to have over 600,000 views, it probably wouldn't be that one, but at the same time, I am happy for what it has done for my channel. For now, I am also grateful that I have managed to hit similar heights with videos that I am more proud of, such as my One Night at Flumpty's tier list, which I feel was a lot more passionate and had a lot more effort on my part. But I sure as hell ain't the first guy to come up with that idea to get hundreds of thousands of views. Dinosaur Tributes are one of the oldest and some of the most iconic dinosaur genres in all of YouTube. If you grew up during the late 2000s and early 2010s era of YouTube, you recognize a lot of old, edgy dinosaur tributes and AMVs. All the classics, Monster by Skillet, Animal I've Become by 3 Days Grace. This is what shaped people's childhoods. But now onto something completely different. It's time to talk about dinosaur toy websites again. And the only dinosaur toy website that really rivals the Dinosaur Toy Blog in popularity is DinosaurToyCollector. DinosaurToyBlog is kind of like the Metacritic of dinosaur toy websites, with people writing very detailed reviews of dinosaur figures. DinosaurToyCollector is more like IMDb. You create an account, and then you rate whatever figure you want out of 5 stars, and then all the reviews are collected together into an average score. It's pretty cool. And they're not just a dinosaur toy website, they are also a dinosaur figure company under the name Wildpast. That name was originally chosen by one of their fans, Battat Productions, who won a competition to give the best name for the company. After that, they started releasing figures, such as their Protoceratops, which has been reviewed by famous Dinotube reviewers, such as DinoScream Reviews, as well as a couple of prototypes for other dinosaurs figure species that have been created and sculpted by other Dinotubers, such as the one and only Kayakasaurus. And speaking of fans getting involved with dinosaur figure companies, we have the hashtag HowISafari campaign, which is a hashtag mainly used by big dinotubers like Spino Dude and Bioniclesaurus, who are actually sponsored by Safari Limited themselves, and even have discount codes associated with their figure reviews. And as we move on to the next entry, I have to make a slight correction. I mentioned that Jurassic Repaints was the second biggest Jurassic World repainter behind Jurassic Park Compound. I was wrong, as both are behind OB Toys when it comes to subscribers. OB Toys dwarfs both of them, having over 64,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is nearly 20,000 more than Jurassic Park Compound, you get the picture. He is quite different from the Jurassic Park compound and Jurassic Repaints for his incredibly bright and colorful sculpts, with tons of spikes and tons of bright, huge colors, in contrast to the more reserved repaints of Jurassic Repaints and Jurassic Park compound. He's also successful on Instagram and TikTok with thousands of followers on each, but nothing beats his YouTube channel in success. But none of this would be possible without Mattel Jurassic World, and we're going to go through a couple of their lines. First, we'll talk about Dino Rivals, which was the 2019 line for Mattel, with the main gimmick being dual attack figures with action features on both their mouths and their tails. A year later, we had the Primal Attack figures, with their big features being the massive biters, which basically had their tail and head interconnected, so you could twist the tail around and also twist the head around. I personally love this feature a lot more than most, and also there was usually a button on this feature so that you could also make it jump. And in both 2021 and 2022, we have DinoEscape, which took advantage of capture gear, an old classic from the Kenner days. And the last thing we have on this little Mattel spree to conclude this layer is Jurassic Collector, a famous Jurassic Park YouTuber who mainly gets popular thanks to reposting some of the Mattel Jurassic World commercials and also making figure reviews on some of the newest Mattel stuff, such as this Mattel Legacy Collection of Apatosaurus, which got him over 100,000 views. And to conclude this layer, we're gonna end with a classic. The Carnegie Collection. While it ain't the first time that a museum has made a dinosaur figure line, that would be Invicta, the Carnegie Collection is certainly one of the most popular examples. It was created and sculpted by Safari Limited all the way back in the late 80s, and lasted all the way to 2015 to go alongside the Carnegie Natural History Museum. These figures have also made major appearances in Jurassic Park 3, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and Dinosaur Island, meaning that you've probably seen a Carnegie figure without even realizing it. And that concludes Layer 2. Join us next time as my co-host, King Kaiju, will take you further down the iceberg in Layer 3. But for now, I'm some stupid sketch show guy, and this was Layer 2 of the Dinotube Iceberg.